Hey there, welcome back to another episode on the athomedive YouTube channel. My name is Joey, and today we're in the kitchen making a classic pizza. We all love pizza, so let's sit back, hit that subscribe button, and let's dive right in. Alright friends, so to get started on the counter today, we have 2.5 cups total of AP flour. I'm going to start with 1 cup in the bowl, and I have 1.5 cups on the side. We also have 2 1/4 teaspoons of yeast, that's 1 small packet, 1.5 teaspoons of granulated sugar, 1 teaspoon of kosher salt, and 1/8 teaspoon of garlic powder. Over here we have 4 tablespoons of good olive oil and 6 ounces of warm water. We're looking at about 110 degrees right now. So to get started, what we're gonna do is we're gonna take this cup of flour and we're gonna go ahead and add in the yeast, the sugar, the salt and garlic, and we're gonna mix them together very well. Once you've added those things in, we're gonna go ahead and add the water and 2 tablespoons of the olive oil. Now we're just gonna make sure we mix these things together very well. Now we're gonna go ahead and add in 1 additional cup, leaving behind the 1/2 cup of flour. Now that we have the dough to where all the flour is worked into it, what we're gonna do is, if you see, I just I'm rolling it back into itself and forming like a nice ball of dough here. And it's just a little bit sticky, but not bad. We can still work with it. We're gonna drop another 1.5 tablespoons of the olive oil in there and just brush it around. We wanna make sure the bowl gets nice and coated in the olive oil. And then we're just gonna go ahead and brush over top of the ball of dough itself. We're gonna go ahead and wrap this with plastic wrap. And then we want to set it somewhere warm but not hot. So I'm going to set mine on top of the refrigerator, and we're going to be right back to check on it in about 40 minutes. While we're waiting on our dough to proof, now's a great time to go and get our toppings together. So let's take a look around and see what we got. On our quest for toppings, we found an Italian 6-cheese blend. We also have some sliced Roma tomatoes here, some diced onions, some sliced mushrooms, some bell peppers diced up, and a bunch of fresh basil. And we got a bunch of bacon here, slow rendering. And of course, we need sauce. In the cup, I have a 28-ounce can of stewed tomatoes, 2 tablespoons of oregano, 1 tablespoon of parsley, 1 teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder, 1 teaspoon of black pepper, and 1/2 teaspoon of celery salt. And we're just gonna take our hand blend and buzz it together real quick. That's how we make our sauce. So as soon as the crust is ready, we're gonna be ready to go. So we've waited for our dough to rise now, and we're gonna come on back, and we're gonna pat it out on the counter, lightly coat it in flour all the way around, knead it into itself a few times, and we're gonna take a rolling pin and roll it to help stretch it out. It's like it's cold. Alright, so I'll take the pizza dough and I'll actually just turn it like this, and the weight of the dough itself actually kind of helps stretch the crust out. So at this point, we're just gonna turn and roll all around the edge, and that's gonna form your little bit of crust that you want around the outside. We're gonna take a fork and dock the middle of it just like we're making a pie dough, because we want the outside to rise, but we don't want the inside to rise. And we're gonna brush the whole thing with that little bit of remaining olive oil. Before we get all this stuff on our pizza, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna dust this with cornmeal and set our pizza dough over onto it. Now the pizza dough is easy to slide. So now it's time to put on the toppings. We're gonna start with 1 good ladle of sauce here. And I like to go down and in a circle, push it to the outsides. That way we get sauce all the way around. And once we've done that, it's important to go ahead and put on a base layer of cheese. Go ahead and add in the mushrooms. And after the mushrooms, we're gonna go with the bell peppers. It's important that you go all the way to the crust with the ingredients, because nobody likes that bite of pizza that doesn't have any of the good stuff. We're gonna do the same thing with the onions. And then we're gonna go ahead and cover it all in cheese again. The only things that I'm gonna put on top of the cheese are gonna be these tomatoes here. And then of course the bacon. And there you have it. That's your pizza, it's ready to go in the oven. Now it's time to go into the oven. Like I said, we have the oven preheated to 425 degrees. We're gonna put the pizza in for 15 minutes, and then we're gonna come back and check on it. All right, friends. As I mentioned, it has been 15 minutes. It is time to now go ahead and pull out the pizza. The pizza is now nice and crispy. So the last thing for us to do is go ahead and add the greenery of the basil before we cut it, and then it's ready to go. And that, my friend, is our pizza.